till I get myself going.
Will people hear it on the station even though it's not recording?
Yeah, it's usually everything from here rolls into this box.
Okay.
And for some reason, it just keeps saying the word monitor. So when I go to hit record, play, it just won't. And I see it feeding, but for some reason, it just will not record. And normally, it records. And definitely something's coming in.
Yeah.
What's going on? So aggravating. Didn't even get a chance to read through your bio. Like I like to read it before I go on air.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. We'll still have fun, and we're recording right here. So, folks, if nothing else, I'll be able to upload it on Vimeo. We'll at least get that. I just would love to have had an actual recording.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever get a chance to do it again. Out of the way. Let's see, I love this jam. So, folks, we are improvising here because we've lost the input to the audio. But this jam right here.
This is all blues.
This is all blues?
Yeah.
Oh, Silencio. Oh, I chose the wrong one. But it's all good. It's all blues.
Yes.
It's all blues. We'll get into Silencio because Silencio is one of my favorites. I wanted to surprise her with my favorite being the first one. But
today is full of surprises, so.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's all good.
Remind me of a lot of Olita Adams going on right now. Have you heard that before? Yeah. Greg, my friend that I mentioned that I met Celia through, used to sing backups for Olita Adams. Him, my friend Jason Page, Patricia Jenkins, Aisha DeHaas. When I first met all of them in New York, they were all singing backup for Olita Adams. And we were all singing together in the Broadway Gospel Choir, which is now Broadway Inspirational Voices. So that's how I met all of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how the world turns, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm probably gonna cut this because it's already 5:15.
Yeah.
And I want to read your bio, and then we'll just go into talking.
Okay.
While I was doing that, let me read this out loud. And also, usually I do my edits and editing, so I'm just gonna do it. I'll try to do as much as jazz soul singer songwriter Jamila or Jamila?
Jamila.
Jamila Ford has garnered attention for her sizable singing chops. Her slight frame belies a bewitchingly powerful yet smooth mezzo-soprano voice that gets your attention and demands a second listen. Majoring in music with an emphasis in vocal performance, Jamila attended the University of California, Riverside, graduating with her BA in 2001. Since then, she has performed around the world as a solo artist and as a backing vocalist, lending her talent to the projects of artists such as Seal, Angela, Fishbone. And now, Fishbone, is that the show? Does you have Fishbone in parentheses?
Oh, he's from the band Fishbone.
Oh, it's from the, okay. Well, I usually go over stuff here. See, folks, you get to see it live and how it really goes. Fishbone. Angela from the band Fishbone, Melody Gardot, spiritualized Coachella Festival. And yes, we are still rolling. Coachella Festival. And Bonnie Pointer. I'm so excited. The Pointer Sisters. And part of the Music Cares Choir back in Leon Bridges. Okay, so we're going to take this out so it's got about a minute. I'm just going to read it all as we go and then we can just talk.
Paragraph if you want, it doesn't have to. You can just read the first paragraph if you want. You certainly don't have to do both pages. You know. For time. Whatever you feel like.
I'll get up to like the Lazy Curve Plan was released on September 15. Collection of interest management. I'll just get up to right here. Oh, we got 50 some seconds. So here we go. 95.1 KBC on Monarch Radio, the voice of Valley College. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Just Keep It Moving Powerfully. Sorry, we're just getting on the air. We had a few little glitches here, but you know what? We're still going to give you a wonderful, wonderful show. I have an extraordinary guest here with me, Miss Jamila Ford. And let me read some things. And, you know, always got to start off the show all proper and read the bios properly and everything, and then we're going to get down and just have a conversation, have some fun. So I have this beautiful lady just sitting over from you, this smile is just lighting up the room, and we got a lot to talk about. Jazz soul singer songwriter Jamila Ford has garnered attention from her sizable singing chops. Her slight frame belies a bewitchingly powerful yet smooth mezzo-soprano voice that gets your attention and demands a second listen. Majoring in music with an emphasis in vocal performance, Jamila attended the University of California, Riverside, graduating with her BA in 2001. Since then, she has performed around the world as a solo artist and as a backing vocalist, lending her talent to projects of artists such as Seal, Angela from the band Fishbone, Melody Gardot, spiritualized at Coachella Festival, and Bonnie Pointer, the Pointer Sisters, and part of the Music Cares Choir back in Leon Bridges and Mavis Staples. Drawing influences from jazz to R&B to pop, she can give you a history of 50 years of American popular music during one of her sets, with her sultry voice providing her linchpin. Jamila released her debut EP, The Breezy Traces of the Day, in January 2001, the funky 70s R&B inspired fabulous EP in 2003, yes, I can tell. And her first full-length album, try to get 5 times, first full-length album, was soulful and revealing enough, a nominee for Independent Music Awards Best Soul R&B Album in October 2010. Her latest EP, the critically acclaimed The Deep End, was released in September 2014, a collection of reinterpreted standards and an original composition. Jamila's smoky, sophisticated, and self-assured vocals breathe new life into all moods, gentle rain, sugar, and wild is the wind. She also has an incredible podcast called The Working Singer. The Working Singers Podcast. And hello, Jamila.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, and welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
You know, I keep talking about you forever, but you know, I want to let you talk a little bit. I really appreciate you coming on the show and bearing with us in this little bit of, you know, we live in the world of technology, as we all know. And sometimes technology is just not your friend.
Absolutely.
And today seems to be one of those days where we have a little complications, but you know, we're gonna make it happen.
Yes.
Because just like your Working Singer podcast, you always say, find a way to make it work.
Yes. Make it work and keep it moving.
Exactly. And here we keep it moving powerfully.
Yes.
So that's exactly what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And how did you even come about wanting to put the podcast together?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. I think, you know, singing was kind of becoming a bit of a drag, and I wanted to just kind of do something else, and you know, maybe something where I kind of talk shop with other singers, because I know we all kind of go through lulls, and you know, I thought I'd, you know, maybe put something together that could not only enlighten me, but like help other people, be a little bit, you know, educational, because that's always how I roll. I love love to be educated, and
Keep
you
the power
know,
moving forward.
yeah, absolutely. So, you know, but I'd had that idea years ago, and I'd kind of put it off. You know, I'd looked up how to do a podcast, and at the time, it was, it just seemed kind of difficult, and I don't think I was in the kind of headspace to do it.
Okay.
And I was feeling, you know, you got those times where in your life you're just kind of negative and you're down, and you're like, that won't ever work, and it's too complicated, and you know. And then early last year, I thought, you know, I want to transform some things. I want to learn some new things. It was kind of my year of learning. And I'd listened to another podcast on, the episode happened to be about starting your own podcast and how to do it and what to expect. And I thought, you know what, I did want to do that. And so that just kind of got the ball rolling, and I got, you know, I started thinking about guests and how, you know, I looked up again how to do it, and it was actually easier than the last time I researched it. Still not a simple process, but, you know, I think I was just in a better place of, you know, I was just trying to fill my head with any positive thing that I could. And, you know, so I was just in a good headspace to do it. And yeah, when I started getting my guest list together, I started, you know, interviewing a lot of, quite a few of the interviews that you hear now, I've done like last summer.
Okay.
And, you know, and I'm constantly interviewing people and all of that. So, you know, it just really came from a place of me, you know, wanting to learn something new, wanting to challenge myself in a new way, and, you know, hopefully help others with everything that I'm taking in and that I'm learning. So, yeah.
You caught me on the very first thing you said, though. Why was singing becoming a drag?
Well, I think I was, you know, I sort of come up wanting to be an artist and, you know, wanting to be a singer, and kind of having the model of, you know, kind of having that model, let me think, of superstar. If you're going to be a singer, it has to be this certain way. You've got to have a record deal. It's got to be done this way. It's worldwide, you know, success. And and that's the way to do it. I had no other like models, so I was like really trying to do that, you know, and you know, I had talked to someone about, oh, you know, maybe I should try backup singing as well, just as like sort of an in and just as a way to just be singing while I'm trying to, you know, sing and, you know, trying to pursue that aspect of singing. And, you know, that person was just like, no, you know, if you sing backup, you'll always only be known as a backup singer, and don't do that, and, you know, you know, and there are like, it's demonstrably untrue that, as we look at Luther Vandross and look at Sheryl Crow, I mean, you can just go on forever.
Exactly.
But I just thought, well, I suppose they're right, I don't want to be pigeonholed, and so I didn't like, you know, I didn't really pursue that, and I wasn't sure how to pursue it anyway. I wasn't sure how to meet the person who could help me do that anyway, and, you know, so it was just kind of like, you know, and I also had like day jobs at the time, and so that was kind of paying for my recordings, and I was just kind of having like, I don't know, sort of not necessarily a wonky experience, but, you know, I was just kind of making the music and working day job and performing shows and, you know, being a part of different music organizations or whatever, but it wasn't quite like picking up, latching on the way I was hoping that it, you know, that it would. And so, and at a certain point, you do that for many years, you're having that experience, and it just becomes like, okay, well, I don't know. You know, what else to do here, and you know, who else I need to be, and what else needs to happen, you know. So that was kind of the experience I was having, and, you know, I was always just open to just singing. And I should say, you know, also I did like kind of pick up backup singing gigs with like local artists, so I was doing that. I was doing session stuff with local artists and all that kind of thing. So I kind of was getting my chops together as far as that goes. You know, with those people, I was doing quite a bit of that. You know, I had there were a couple of girls that I kind of did that with, and we had you know, an engineer who would call us in to do that kind of stuff. So I was kind of getting, you know, my chops together to do that kind of thing. And then in 2012, I got the tour with Melody Gardot. And we went to Europe and Canada, and we did a little bit in the U.S. And you know, that kind of got me, you know, a little educated on like what it is to be a touring singer. And I thought, well, I'd like to do more of that. And it's just kind of been, you know, a process of just kind of been a process of like figuring out how I fit, I suppose, in the singing world. You know, because there's just a lot of things that I've observed other people doing, and I just really didn't understand the way in.
Now, did you get the Melody Gardot gig through the engineer guy, or was that a new connection that you made?
You know, prior to Melody, I had been, a couple of years before that, I'd been in a day job that I was laid off from. And before I was laid off from that job, like a year before I was laid off, I told my husband, you know, I'm kind of burned out on this. I had that job for like, at that point, 4 years, and by the time I was laid off, it was 5 years. I told him, you know, I'd like to get out of this, just like really figure this out. And once I was laid off, I kind of started meeting other singers. And, you know, I actually took Gerald White's singing class, his sight singing class. And that's where I met Celia, who I, you know, ended up doing the tour with. She was the other background singer on that tour. And I was just kind of starting to figure out, okay, I need to like, you know, get into this and meet other singers and like, you know, just really create those relationships, and not just create those relationships, but have actual friendships, you know. So, I think we're answering the question.
No, you're answering the question.
Okay.
It's not an interview. We're just talking.
Okay.
We need some like chips and something to eat, but you know we'd be crunching them.
That would be, yeah, I'd be all over some chips right now.
I know, right? Exactly. Oh God, I know there's some new ones at Trader Joe's. They're called like these barbecue pop things or something.
Barbecue is all you had to say.
They're in this orange bag. Check them out. Oh my God, they're so good. They're like right next to the honey barbecue potato chips. But they're just like, they give you life. I have to say that.
Oh man. You know what I gotta stay away from is they got this little chocolate cake. I think it's
The
like
one,
chocolate
the little
ganache.
square one.
Yes.
They just came out with a carrot cake one today and a banana one today, and I walked right away.
Oh yeah, you gotta walk away.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
I know. It's breakout city. I can sit there and just eat one or two.
Or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And get mad if somebody tries to get a piece.
They do a good job though.
They do, don't they?
I gotta say.
See, we're having a conversation. Yes, we digress. But no, you did answer the question. You did, and it's like, it sounds like it's so funny because I listen to most of the podcasts with you and Celia, and it sounds like you both went through the same backstory that a lot of people do. You know, you sing, and you stop, and you day jobs, and you try to figure out where's my life going. Yeah, so many of us go through that. I'm going through the same thing right now. I'm getting introduced back to everything. So many of us go through that, and that's why, excuse me, the idea that you had of putting out the Working Singers podcast, it's phenomenal. Because, you know, first of all, come on now, we know this business. Everybody's not giving, they're more taking.
Right.
And your podcast gives everyone a way of looking at everything differently. You bring doctors on there, you bring voice technicians and coaches on there, other singers who honestly tell their stories, you included. And it gives you an education because I had hit you up a couple weeks ago and I was listening to your podcast with you and Celia, and you guys said, I think it was something about just being open and saying yes, and also about knowing how to fit in, like being on that tour bus and maybe being the quiet one or not the quiet one.
Right.
And that particular day, something had come up with me for a singing job, and I was like, it just clicked because of what we were talking about on the podcast, and it worked out for me. And I ended up booking a gig for me just from listening to that. So it's like it's so helpful what's going on.
That's so nice. I love to hear that.
And how many people are going to take the time to do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's just and like you said, you were going through all that time. Like, how do I meet the right singers? How do I get into the right? Do you find that it's harder now because everything is more of a digital age and people don't seem to come together as much?
No, I think, I mean, it's a digital age and I feel like I'm creating community around the show that I made, and we've gotten together twice. We plan to do more get-togethers.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and you've been at both of my get-togethers, and I think in that way it makes it easier. I think it's about like your intentions behind, what you're doing, and being genuine. I genuinely care about everybody, and I just empathize, with how difficult it can be, and I also empathize with sort of I don't know, there's like a lot of shame behind like not quite finding your way, and it's kind of a hard conversation to have with people when they know what you want to do, they know what you've always wanted to do, and you're not quite like figuring it out, you're not maybe successful in their eyes or whatever, you're not like quite modeling that image of what people believe to be successful. So I think, when that happens, then I think at that point you're seeing yourself possibly through other people's, lenses, and you're not then connected with you, and, then you're not really connected with reality, and then you start, spiraling a bit.
So how do you, what would be your advice for somebody to stay in check, to find out what's real, and like how to fish out the right areas of people to be around and stuff like that with your experience?
I'm constantly just checking in with myself. I write a lot, there was a period where I wasn't journaling very much, and that actually thrown out some of my journals. And this year has been a lot about like just like writing stuff down. I think like I'll take in information, and then I will take action after taking in that information, and then I will, then like sit down and think about like what just happened and how did that feel, and I think it's just a constant check-in. And that person might have said that one thing. Like I had this conversation with Celia the other day. We had tea, and we were talking about like other people's image of, you know, what success would be for a singer. And, you know, one thing we were saying was just like, don't ask anybody else who's not a singer advice on what you should be doing as a singer. They've got, you know, no idea. It's like, well, I wouldn't ask a dentist how to be an accountant. You know, it's just like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And people will just go like, and they, you know, they see you singing out loud, and it's like, have you been on one of those reality shows or singing out? That doesn't resonate for all of us, you know?
Exactly. And reality ain't real. Trust folks.
Yes. Yes. And you know, I've auditioned for a couple of those. I didn't like it felt wrong when I was doing it. I did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't think I'm good television for somebody. So I think ultimately, but God, where was I going with this?
Just like again, just trying to help people stay in the pocket.
How do I?
Just like when you stay in the pocket with the song.
How do I focus when I'm asking a question? Answering a question.
Something about that cake.
Stop.
I'll put that cake in front
on
of
the
you.
cake. I think there's a Trader's near.
Oh, of course.
There's a trade.
It's traded everywhere.
It's the new Starbucks.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, just check in with yourself. You know what resonates. I mean, somebody could make a suggestion, and you sit with that, and does that ring true for me? You know, does that make any sense for me? No, you know, or yes. You know, it's just like, and where are they really coming from? Because a lot of people are just projecting.
A lot of times it's still it's one of those things like in life where people will say something to you like. I always have to relate it back to personal experience. Like when I first moved to New York, when I first started doing musical theater, and I didn't seek to do musical theater. I was kind of led into it. Didn't know a lot about it. So again, taking advice, trying to watch people, but never listening to that inner voice, whether or not it's right or wrong for me. And it's like a lot of things when you tell people stuff, it's in there in the subconscious or whatever, but people may not always hear it until it's the right time to hear it. So sometimes people may go in a circle and they may not be able to check in, but something will eventually happen where maybe they will check in and all that. And I'll give you a perfect example. Last week, I was called in by an agent to be represented on the musical theater side. I haven't done musical theater in a while. Definitely thinking about getting back into it, but can't do a lot of things that I used to do on stage. I can't dance anymore because I have physical pain. It's a lot of different stuff. And what's interesting is that a few years back, I decided for the first time ever to just sing and do concerts. So I had to learn how to be myself and come out of the musical theater world. So take the music and just relate it to me as opposed to, it's supposed to be this character. So I went into the audition and singing the same songs that I sung outside of a musical theater setting, but I couldn't get into it because I was too busy trying to figure out a character. Where I finally learned how to be myself with that song. So it's like going all the way back. So the funniest thing when I left that room and I walked out, just something went off in my head. Do you really want to do this again? And I literally stopped walking. That was really powerful for me. I was like, wow. And I had to stop for a while. I just sat in my car and like, because you know that thought came for a reason. And it felt uncomfortable. Again, singing the exact same songs that I've done in this concert stuff now. And it just felt very restrictive. And but the part that I found that I did enjoy was when I had to read the scenes. So I was like, okay, so now that I've discovered how to just sing and have fun, do I want to finally do that and just attempt to do acting separately? So it's like listen to that voice. And it was interesting because it didn't pick me up. And I was like, So I'm sure whatever was going on in me came out in that room. Absolutely.
Wow.
So that goes back to what I'm saying. Sometimes when you say for people to check in, sometimes you're not ready to check in.
Yes.
Or you have to go through a certain situation that checks you.
You get checked.
You get checked.
That's right.
And it makes you think about it. And I just told like the second or third person I told about that because I've really been thinking about that, reflecting on that, and going, okay, is this really where I am? And is that what I need to do right now? Which goes back to what we're talking about as well. And then it's like, I wonder how much time does a person spend? It would be nice if they could get the clue ahead of time, like you're saying, just check in. If there's a support system, because a lot of times we don't have support systems.
Yes.
And see, that comes back to where your podcast is so wonderful. People don't understand that. That kind of support's not always there.
Yeah.
That kind of realism
Yeah.
and the things that you talk about, the guests that you bring on is real. And it's such great advice. And that's not always been there.
Yeah.
You know, like when I started back in like the 90s and 80s, you didn't have all that.
You're on your own.
Exactly. And there was a lot of trial and error. Where now that's such a positive tool. That's why I wanted you to be on the show to talk about your podcast. And it's just what my show's about. Just keep it moving powerfully. You're giving people all this power just to keep it moving. And it's such, and folks, I will say from attending a couple of the gatherings we've had so far, it is genuinely a really cool group of people who do want to see others move forward as well as themselves. There's some that you can tell they're really pushing, like, oh, I gotta go, but I just kind of want to, I don't know them yet. Certain people talking about this one, it's okay, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
That's what we're all here for. But genuinely, I feel like it's a very cool, loving crew of people that really do want to help each other. And there are different levels of people that are, just from talking to certain people that been doing it for eons, and contract singers and all that are willing to help people like myself. I talk to people like, hey, I haven't done this in years, and I want to get back. Like, sure, let's talk about how we can help each other. So that's a great tool. That all comes from your podcast, the Working Singers Podcast.
Oh my gosh.
So pat yourself on, both shoulders, reach around.
Why not?
Go buy that cake. Go buy that cake.
You know what? There we go. I'm gonna justify buying that cake.
Boom! I just gave you the reason. And
Only
there you
the whole
go.
thing. I can't do that for my husband. He won't.
Tell him go
we're gonna
somewhere.
have to share. He's gonna be like, did you get cake? You know what? I restricted him from getting. I restricted him, but we're at Trader's yesterday, and he came up and he had the what is it? The JoJo's, those JoJo gluten-free cookies, and this like big s'more.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Oh, wait a minute. That they haven't had that out that long, right?
No, I think so he had, anyway, he was just like, how do you get these? And I was just like, they still have, no. The last time he brought a box of those JoJo's home, it's all I could think about, and I pretty much ate the whole thing, and that's what
So now married life, I didn't realize you were married.
Yes.
Congratulations for having that
Thanks.
supporting partner. How does that work with the life of a performer? 'Cause you know how that can be.
Well, my husband is really supportive and he's very understanding. And, we just had an anniversary on Friday, our 11-year.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And, I would say it's just been an adjustment because I wasn't exactly quite trying to pursue it full time when we first got together, and had the day job the first couple of years. I still sang and I still was a thing. I suppose not really be on schedule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he has been really fantastic about that. I can't say it's always been easy, but he has been very understanding and really supportive, and I owe him a lot.
What about like the touring aspect? How does that, in a marriage, how does that put a lot of pressure on the marriage if you have to go on tour for a while and you're separated?
I haven't been on any, big deep tours. There was the Melody Gardot one that took me away. But it was one of those situations where I'd leave for a little bit and was able to come back. Like I'd go for a week and came back. I think the longest I was gone during that time was like a month, which was, a little difficult. And he was able to, visit me at one point. So, I would love to do more of that, but I would say that I don't, I think it'd be difficult to be gone for like weeks and weeks on it. And that would be, that's for, not just for the marriage, of course, which is the most important thing, but just, on my psyche as, a person. I am kind of a homebody. I do like to, I do like to see my friends. I do like to be surrounded by, my comfort and all that kind of stuff. And, from some of the singers, some interviews that we've got coming up, I've got some singers who, and Ken Stacy, who was on a few weeks ago, he talked about, being on the road for a really long time and kind of putting your life on hold, which I found, your life is really, it keeps going on without you when you're on the road, so I think I would have to think long and hard about that, you know, before I took another tour. But, you know, my husband and I had talked about that. It would kind of depend on who it was. Would it be something like really amazing? Like
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder Hall.
Right.
Be like, oh, no.
Yeah. He's like, I'll get my ticket. I'll meet you somewhere.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
Absolutely. So, you know, yeah, it's just, you have to, I think, constantly just be like having conversations about things.
Because I used to talk to a lot of my friends about that, like my late friend Greg Clark, I know, who I've been studying through, because I know he had a chance at one point to go out on. Back then it was George's, I think at that point it was a George Michael tour and a couple others, and at that point he was heavily in a relationship, and like at one point it would have been a dream for him to do that. He's like, I'm in a relationship, I don't want to be gone that long. So you have to make those decisions, and then it goes back to the very beginning of the conversation we were talking about, like, what is my idea of success and what type of success works for me as a singer?
Yeah.
So if you know you're not willing to do that tour, if you know you're not willing to do blah, 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 then be okay with the fact, okay, I'll stay home. I'll stay in the city wherever I am. I'll do this kind of session. I'll do this kind of club. You have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's where I think your check-in part comes involved.
Absolutely.
Because you have to figure out, these are my circumstances that I've agreed to.
Yeah.
Is this okay? And if not, then you have to make an adjustment. So I think it ties into everything you're saying, which again goes to your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we have some stuff on practical matters too. I mean, you know, I had April Kelly on, who is a singer, and now she has a wedding band called Band of Gold. That band has been together for like 20 years. They do all kinds of different events, and she started that band because she started off as a singer and an artist, and had a couple of hits on the radio, and just got tired of not only being gone all the time, but not being sure. Like one month she'd make like $10,000, and the next month she wouldn't make any money, and another month she'd make 5 figures, and another month she could be, and that was just a little too erratic for her. And I think, so we talk about like sort of sensible stuff, like starting that basically an event company, pretty much is what she did, and that's been going for a long time, and then you kind of build upon that. So you're at home, how do I sing at home? And basically, I think the biggest thing is just like, how am I doing this as a business, and what are the pieces of that business? And I got my event company, and then I also teach, and then I also do session work, and maybe I've got some workshops, I've got some individual students, maybe I start an online course, maybe I'm licensing my music, maybe so there's like a lot of different pieces to that I think, that you understand once you're in it, you don't really get from the outside like how all of it works, which is why I say, you have to get your advice from somebody who's like really doing it, because somebody watching somebody on a reality singing competition and thinking that that's it, and and I won't jump all over. I haven't watched one in a while. I mean, who knows? There could be something practical, but so.
But it's still like it's like you said. I always tell people, especially the young people, like it's not show business; it's the business of show. You're a business person that's doing a show, so you have to treat yourself as a business. And when you decide to do this, you're a general contractor, which means yes, you get paid today, but you may not get paid tomorrow. So you have to learn how to make your money stretch.
Right.
You have to learn that's the business part of the show.
Yeah.
And then you have to be okay that you've made that conscious decision again, that this is your life. Because if you don't want that, go work somewhere where you can get that 9 to 5, that steady check, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's not guaranteed. I mean, look at people like MC Hammer. You can go from filthy rich to filthy nothing.
Right.
That's the reality of this business.
Yeah.
So, that again, you're getting great, powerful stuff from the Working Singers podcast. But speaking of Working Singer, I want to feature one of your favorites. You sent me some of the originals, and hopefully I queued up the right track. I love Silencio.
Thank you.
And I want to hear that.
Okay.
So folks, we're going to switch over for a minute, and I'm going to give you a little taste of that sultry voice. You already hear it. She needs to have her own show just so she can speak. But as we say in the South, but her voice, the singing voice, just the richness of it. I want to give you a little taste. So this is one of my favorites from Miss Jamila Ford, Silencio. I'm gonna check the door and make sure Catherine's not locked out.
Okay.
God, it's hot in here too. I love this song. But I also love anything Latin music, Latin jazz, Latin anything. So I feel like it's going.
Great.
Flowing okay?
Yeah. Yes, you have some great questions and you're keeping it moving. So
I don't like to do the Barbara Walters, so Jamila. I just like for us to talk. And like I said, the points will get in there
yes.
when we talk. And I hope you all are enjoying it because we will be putting this up on Vimeo. I'm so sorry we can't get the actual audio through the system. It's beyond my control. But we are going to have this for you to see.
Yes.
And great shot of you. Too bad you can't see it, but you'll see it when it's done.
Cool.
And I just wanted to remind you, to stay close if you can.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to cue you up.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all good. But it's just, you don't, I want to save a lot of this for the air. But it's just, I think your podcast will help, hopefully, some of the younger people will find out about it, the up and coming, as well as the people who've been around, because I think it has information for both. Like, for instance, yesterday? Yeah. I went to see Rena Gupta, the doctor.
Oh, nice.
Because I have my own ENT, but she's the first one that I noticed that's been out here that strictly deals with the voice. So I wanted to see her just to get some second opinions, make sure my stuff's okay. And I go to my guy as well. But I just wanted to do that, and it was great just like checking in with a vocal doctor, because in New York I found them everywhere. Out here I've not been able to find them. The guy that I go to now, his name is Dr. Namazi. He's the closest that I found.
Yeah.
But never an otolaryngologist who was like hardcore, I want to work with singers, that's my jam. So it's stuff like that. And then she taught me about the straw formation, which I never really done, but I do different exercises similar to that. And I actually told my cousin about it back in DC, because we're going to be singing together for a family reunion when I go home next month. And he's having some vocal issues. He's got the most gorgeous, that raspy, like Joe Cocker sound, but he's not using his voice right, so he's getting hoarse. And I'm like, okay, dude, but I like go on little video things and say, do this, get in the mirror with me. Like, I need you to drop your tongue, I'm gonna show you where to breathe. But I sent her the videos about the straw formation and all that. And it's just great to have that kind of support coming out.
Yeah. That's
And, I'll probably repeat a lot of this on the air so the people who are listening can hear it as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But
I love
that's
that.
what we're talking about there, folks.
I love it.
I love this song. I wish I could still dance without dancers. You got about 20 seconds.
Cool.
Hey. G-Tap, and you're listening to Just Keep It Moving Powerfully, and that was the sultry, sexy, sassy. I gotta find some more S's. Give me some more S's to describe it. Come on, what's your song? Sultry, sassy,
Not that quick. Sustainable.
Sustainable. No, that just doesn't work. That doesn't work. The music, that makes it sound like we're in aerobics class. Like, come on, one more, keep it up now, sustain that. Sweet, like samba kind of sounds of the wonderful Miss Jamila Ford. That is my great guest here. I'm telling you, that's my jam. When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. You got me going again. I was like, oh.
Nice.
Yeah, well, that's my jam. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we were talking off the air about some of the great guests that you have.
Yeah.
I was telling you that I actually listened to the episode with Rena Gupta,
Nice,
the
yeah.
otolaryngologist here in LA who deals not strictly with singers, but that's her base. She likes to work with singers. So I went to her myself just to get a second opinion, just like they had said in the podcast. Always get second opinions. Because I'm very satisfied with my doctor. Give him, hey, Dr. Namazi, I'm Namazi.
Yes.
But I always get second opinions because I had some vocal issues years ago that I was dealing with like paralysis of vocal cord, and so I've always been like, what's going on? What's going on? And she gave me a great deal of help. Just told me to do the straw formation exercises, maybe because it looks like a part of the right side of the muscle may have gotten a little thicker. She said otherwise, she said everything was loose. She like gave me like an A+.
Good.
Like cool, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But it's great because if I hadn't listened to your podcast, I would not have known about it.
Oh,
And like I was telling you off the air as well, since I've moved to Los Angeles, I have not found any otolaryngologists or ENTs that strictly focus on singers.
Right.
When I was in New York, they were everywhere, but not here. And I think because when I think about it, New York, you have a lot of theater, a lot of musicals. You have a lot of singers here in LA as well, but you know, LA is basically TV film.
Right.
So I'm thinking maybe that's why they may be far few. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think in theater they're like 8 shows a week, and they've got to
Yes,
like
we
be
did.
under the care of someone.
Absolutely.
You can't do that alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I was telling her back in the day I was on the road doing a show called Five Guys Named Mo. Then I had to have my tonsils out right at the end of that. And at the same time, right as I was healing, I got a call to go to the first national show. And I was like, I just got my tonsils out. When do I need to show up? So it was like just enough time. They said, don't worry about it, just go real easy. But that's the kind of demand it is. And then you do have 8 shows a week. And just like with Five Guys Named Mo, I was the only understudy in the dance cabin for 6 characters. I had to sing all 6 tracks, all 6 harmonies, all 6 voice parts. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
That's how I got my equity card. That's my equity card
You
story.
earned it. And you deserve it. Shoot.
Yeah, I was like, okay, just kill me now. Luckily, I only had to go on 3 different characters, but still, 3 out of 6, and they all sang different parts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's a great show. I'm not sure if anyone's out there is familiar with it, but it's the music of Louis Jordan.
No.
Louis Jordan was kind of a jazz guy in the 30s, but more of like I won't even say a funky sound to it. Look up Louis Jordan. He has some of his popular songs are Messy Bessie, Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, Caledonia. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And he just had a surprise guest come in. Hey!
Hello.
I know you. We know you. Well, we have Miss Catherine Wood that just stepped in here with us, the producer herself. She's going to be talking to us as well, folks. Yeah, come on, you can have a seat. We're just chatting to the folks.
Crashing the party.
I'll have to get you up in a little bit, and just talking about how great. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, just interviewed
I
Catherine.
just interviewed her a few
Yes,
hours
you might
ago.
actually have no turn the mic on so we can have it.
Hot
Yeah.
mic, check one.
There you are.
Siblings. Closer. Just kidding.
Right? Exactly. Well, I got 2 power women up in here, y'all. Y'all don't know what's happening in this radio station right now. There's a whole lot of power sitting over there for me.
I took a shower.
Oh,
For you
okay.
guys.
It's hot in here, though. That's why I brought the fan.
Oh, it's fine. It's
oh,
hot
good.
in here.
Oh, hey. I'm just complimenting Jamila on her wonderful Working Singers podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the work that it's done and doing for people, it's amazing. And then you bring power people like this one sitting here, Miss Catherine, that, you know.
I was very pleased to speak with you. It's so great to see you.
And so it's just like, and the thing, have you found that's what really has been great because you're on this great journey, doing such great things, you find that you very seldom hear anyone say no to you when you ask them to come on? You get mostly yeses?
I've gotten mostly yeses. I've gotten just my email not answered. But
That's
it's
kind
for
of
the,
like
for the most part, I get yeses. That's another part of the evolution journey is just being okay with people not responding.
Exactly.
It's just like they could be busy or they could just not be interested in it, and that's okay. Both are fine. And I reach out again too. Is the other thing. That's another part of the evolution is just follow up. People don't do that,
People, you don't understand. And like this show here, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm just like you. And it's like, okay, I gotta come up with the talent, find the talent, talk to the talent, email the talent. Hey, what do you like? What do you do? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then you have to put all that together because I like to put together with talk and music. And I have to get you here. I have to give you directions. We have to come in here. Catherine, sorry, today the radio station is actually not working well, so we won't be recording that part, but I am filming, so we will be putting it out. See, so you gotta think on your feet like, hey, so we're getting audio that way.
Your directions were great, by the
See,
way.
see, folks, it's all about getting talent here.
Well,
Yes.
It's all about
the pictures, honestly.
pictures. See,
Yeah.
it's about the pictures.
Yeah.
That's because I also work in film and TV as a location manager.
There you go.
I gotta get people everywhere all the time, and it has to be so smooth that they think I'm not doing my job. That's how.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
how I like to treat this.
I like that.
And that's how, you know, when you get to that level of responsibility and doing things that, well, that's when you should do what you've done, which is a selfless thing, and pass on how to do that. A lot of people hold on to it, and you shouldn't. That's stuff that you're supposed to pass on. That's how you help the next generation come up. So I'll just keep complimenting you, praising you.
Oh my gosh,
No,
I'll take
that's
it. I will take it. I will absorb it.
I want to hear, how do you know your song? Scoot over this way. You all talk about yourself.
Have we?
Let me see. So, we played All Blues. We played Silencio.
Yes.
But I would play one of your favorites by one of your artists that you sing.
Okay.
And I'm gonna scoot this way. I think it's kind of a cool song. It's Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Now talk about a sad story and how. I mean, I didn't get into Amy a lot until towards the end. But just a little bit that I knew about her story, I wonder what type of support system she actually had.
Yeah.
And also, why does that seem to happen so much in our industry? Now, from a film and TV standpoint, I'll be honest with you, I've seen it. Like the hours that my job, we're contracted to work minimum 60 hours a week.
Whoa.
Yeah. Take that. Just imagine just working 60, so you work a minimum of 12 hours a day for 5 days a week. So that's just on contract. I mean, my job usually works 7 days a week, and never stops. Take that without getting any sleep, not eating well, trying to have life, like even trying to take a bath, like seriously,
Yeah.
you know, and the pressure that you feel. Some people will resort. I've seen it on set, and I've seen it through a lot of. You start resorting to extracurricular things to keep yourself going.
Yeah.
You know, we've all seen it. Like, and Amy was just one of those people, and I'm just wondering, like, because I don't know much about her background. But didn't she have some issues like with her father, her manager? Do you guys know much about?
I think he started being her promoter towards the end there. He was booking her shows. That's what it was I believe in the documentary. The documentary is where I learned the most about her.
There's a documentary.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's just called Amy.
Yeah.
I think.
Great.
And I mean, with her too, I mean, you know, I was listening to somebody talk about just like how unhelpful it is to be in a different time zone all the time and not get proper rest. I mean, let's add that on with everything else you're talking about, like the nonstop work, doing drugs. For her, I think she was also bulimic. And, you know, I mean, you're giving your body nothing, you know, at that point, and it's just, you're depleted, and you're not even thinking straight, and it didn't really seem like anybody who had something healthy to offer was was present or was allowed to be present. I mean, you know, I know that there was someone who was who was managing her early on, who I think they might have had some kind of rift who wasn't really in her life, and I mean, you just, you know, it's like who you surround yourself with, and, but also like who you're ready to kind of listen to, and, you know, what your life is really ready for, and you know, and so that was really sad to me. Very
I'm gonna
sad.
have to look for that documentary. Is it on Netflix or something like that?
Pretty
You know?
much anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's check out Amy Winehouse and G Tap and listen to Just Keep It Moving. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
It's so good to see you. Yeah, we walked in, unfortunately, and it's not recording the audio.
Oh man.
Were you able to listen? Were you put up your phone? Were you actually listening to the station or something?
Oh, I was videoing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Can
Whilst
you do
I
it?
came in.
Do it. Yeah. Do
Because I
it.
thought that would be fun.
Do it.
And social media proactive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't like live or anything. I'll put it on my
Yeah. Do it.
thing, laptop.
We're actually into Catherine's hour, but
Yeah.
That's fine.
you still want to hang.
It's cool with me.
For a few
Okay.
minutes. I will let you have your
Well, okay. So
time so we can,
we'll check you out,
yeah.
and so you can say where we can find you and everything, and then I'll just
Yeah.
have you guys. I'll play a song. We can switch up, and I can get you over here.
Yeah.
However you'd like to do it.
Thank you. Thank you both for rolling with it.
Yes.
Jamila and I came. I was like, the door's locked. I don't know what's been going on for the last week. But we got lots of good footage.
Yeah.
Yes.
I enjoyed our chat this morning. It's
Yes.
questions always, even though you get asked, I get asked the same kinds of questions often, but I manage, I think, to answer them differently every time. Because it's kind of like when you see a movie or something, like, again, you always have a different point of reference, right? Like, so it's really fun. Because, I mean, we just talked on the phone, like,
Yeah.
I was at the grocery store for a chat, but, like, it's cool, I don't know. It's just fun to talk about.
Oh, we got about 20 seconds, so you know.
It kind of, I think it was like stirring the pot.
Yeah.
So it always gave me some really great ideas.
We got about 20 seconds.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to when I listen back to.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I'm just kind of on when I'm listening. I am listening, but then I'm also sharing some politics, but it flows so well. So.
Yeah. No, it was a nice conversation.
Welcome back to Just Keep It Moving Powerfully. And we've had the incredible Miss Jamila Ford on here with us, just telling us all about her podcast, the Working Singers podcast, and just about life as a singer, life as a married woman, and how to juggle your career with that. And we were talking about how she has to keep the cake away from her husband and stuff like that.
Oh,
We got Trey jokes and all those kind of things.
Oh Lord.
I can't thank you enough for saying yes and being on here. Saying yes to me.
Thank you for asking.
Of course. Just such important information. But tell everyone, where can we find everything? Where can we find you, the Working Singers podcast?
You can find me at jamilaford.com. It's JAMILAFORD.com. The Working Singers podcast.com is where you can listen to all of the podcasts we've recorded so far. You can also hear those on iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you like to listen. And we've got a really supportive Facebook group. So you can go on Facebook, go into your search, look up the Working Singer Podcast community, join. I will add you in. As long as you're looking at people who
Well, it depends on the day and the week.
some bots
Really?
try to join. I'm just
Really?
like, clearly this is not a person.
Because we're going back to the day with the blue hair and the purple hair and the weirdness and the weird. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of singers who want to join, last week I had one of my favorite singers and now a friend of mine on by the name of Keena.
Right.
We used to be with Brownstone, and then she
Brownstone.
wants to join the Working Singers podcast. She's like, I want to join.
Oh yeah, well.
So I said,
come on
okay,
to
I'll
Facebook.
remember how to tell her how to
Yes.
hit the button.
If I can find her, I'll add her, or you can invite her.
Okay, I'll invite her. Keena Cosper.
Okay.
Yeah, we had such a great talk last week.
Brownstone.
Yep.
They
Then she
had
had Girl
that.
from the Gutter, and then she had Girl from the Gutter Girl.
Ooh,
So,
Lord.
but I was like all into the B side of the music. And this is before I even met her.
Yeah.
Because I told her the two main people that got me back to singing within the 2000 century was her and Josh Groban.
Really.
Yeah. Two very different people, two very different, huge influences that started me singing again.
How did they do that?
With Keena, I was coming out of my umpteenth Lion King callback. Didn't get it again. And so I was just done. I just remember sitting in the car, because at the time I knew I was sitting, I was in Nigeria. And I just put on her song, it's called Have a Cry, on a particular CD. And it just let me just wash stuff out and come back up. That's the summary of that. And same thing with Josh. I had another situation where I moved to Europe, come back. All the stuff I was supposed to do in Europe fell through because the war started. So they didn't like the blue passports. I was again like, okay, so I'm back in the States. I moved out deliberately to go start anew elsewhere. And what am I going to do? And I just don't know what I'm stuck down here. I don't want to be out in Jersey. I just like, I'm not going to sing. And then I was driving down the 195 highway. And I looked at that, the stars and everything. And the song You Raised Me Up came on. I was like, who is this? And I got his CD, studied it, it just took me back up. And I was like, oh, okay. And also, I can sing this style of music. It fits my voice very easily. And I used to not want to sing that style because going back to what we were talking about earlier, identity and this and the other. You know, growing up where I grew up, you didn't sing that type of music. It was my voice kind of fits that in a lot of ways. Which, buddy Charlotte Gibson, my girl, we used to sing a lot of stuff like the prayer and a lot of other stuff. So I'm always around people that know Josh. So like, y'all tell him one of these days I'm going to be able to just say thank you. So when I met Keena, I was like, I met her under circumstances that weren't so great. A friend of mine, a mutual friend, had passed away. So we were singing at his memorial. But when I was told by his partner who was going to be there, I was like, Keena? He's like, yeah, Keena. I'm like, girl from Better Keena? So I was like, fanboy. But when I first met her, I was like, inside, I was just screaming. I was like, hi, Keena, good to meet you. And she's like, you know what? I was like, hey, how you doing? You know, she's such a regular, she's such a sweet person. She's a poet. Just like you really do. And that voice,
Yeah, I gotta look at her solo stuff. I'm really familiar with that.
Oh yeah. Her Girl from the Gutter was the big CD that came out in 2000.
Okay.
It was called Keena. Girl from the Gutter was a big hit. There's so many great songs on that CD. Yeah, definitely. Not all. Make sure I'll get it. Make sure you get it. She has a couple of them on SoundCloud. As well, you can listen to a few cuts there.
Nice.
Keena Cosper is her last name, C-O-S-P-E-R. Or you can also listen to the episode from last week on my SoundCloud page. She's on there. And speaking of which, you can always find us at my SoundCloud page, which would be Gregory Tapscott or Greg Tapscott. Just look for the guy in the purple shirt with it sideways. And just go on there. It's always uploaded on SoundCloud that night. Unfortunately, we won't have this on SoundCloud tonight. However, we are videotaping here in the studio, so I will have this on video. And you can go to my Vimeo page to see it. And you can enjoy us that way. Because I will make sure where there's a will, there is a way.
Yes.
You will see these interviews.
There's a break, there's a right.
Exactly. And I want to end my first hour with the saying that the great Hal Jackson always closes radio shows with, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. When you're walking down the street, just take that second and say, hey, hi. Don't worry about what the other person is doing. They may go, oh my gosh, what's going on? Don't worry about it. You take that time to extend kindness and love and light. And that light will keep on and on and on. So I want to thank you for listening to Just Keep It Moving Powerfully. So with us, we're going to come back with another guest in our second hour. But again, I want to thank the wonderful Ms. Jamila Ford for being with me. And I'm going to take you out with one of her favorite artists, Miss Bonnie Raitt. And I'll see you in a few minutes. And thank you for listening. Just keep it moving powerfully.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much, Greg. That was awesome. Let's get a picture together.
Oh, we have
Yeah,
to.
let me, good gravy, lady. So I can blow up much. Fire.
Get hot up in here.
Hot and her.
I always like to take it so we can have some of this in the back too.
Yeah, you gotta get the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we should do one like with us before you leave. If
Yeah,
if you're not gonna
absolutely.
be here, like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, we have some.
Yeah,
of this
I'll get the
We got like
the gear. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'll get one this way just for extra gear. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you let me know. Awesome. Here, we'll get ours real quick too. Okay.
because I can put a nice long song on here that both of you all
My
like.
phone didn't blow up, so should be a little less hot.
then that way I can put this in, and that way we can take more pictures up. This one rolls, I'll let this one roll, and it gives us more time. Let me set that.
The radio stuff is really quite different.
Plus, yeah, some of this stuff is a little older.
Nice.
Oh.
I didn't know how to do that right.
Please.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to get that like that
Oh,
tilt
sorry.
or whatever.
Yes, thank you.
Let me do it the other angle too. A little higher. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're sweaty, man.
It's hot, I'm telling you.
You know, men run hot too.
As well as when I got in here, I was like
That's true.
panicking, like, what in the heck is going on?
I'm pretty leveled out, you know.
I feel good.
I was so hot when I walked in because I was like, water. I actually didn't drive. My husband's picking me up. We're reading at the Sharpies.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
fun. Outing.
I know.
Field trip.
That's right. Figure out how to make it.
I'm gonna start you off with one of your favorites, but with a little twist.
Nice. And this is the correct one?
Yes, you'll be here. And just stay up on the mic for me if you can.
Yeah.
Rated G show, rated G show.
Oh, whoops.
Just
Did
in case.
I think I said that before.
No, you didn't.
No, I
Oh, I would've
didn't.
thought you-
No, that's it.
No.
It accidentally snuck in there. Occupational hazard.
Oh, then I can go ahead and start the next video.